Hey guys, hope you had a great weekend. I definitely had a busy one. And sometimes when you have a busy weekend, you just kind of want to think back to simpler times, right? And for me, oh, goodness gracious. Oh, hello, Mr. Balloon. Oh, well, let's go get this balloon right quick. Just ruins the shot or makes the shot. I don't know. One of the two. Um, but these cloudy days in Animal Crossing are coinciding with cloudy days in real life where I'm at. And cloudy days remind me of something when I was a lot younger that I really enjoyed, which was Linkin Park. I like Linkin Park. Like all the bands that could have ever defined early rock and roll for me, or maybe not the rock, like maybe not say rock and roll, but like if there's ever a band that could personify my early excursions into the rock genre, I would say it'd have to be Linkin Park. I didn't actually own any Linkin Park CDs personally, but my sister did, and admittedly, she was more open to rock than I was. That is a lot of stink bugs. Goodness gracious! Look how many stink. We got to catch them all, right, guys? We got to catch all these stink bugs. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Well, ignore that one. Ignore that one. We'll grab this one. Bada boom. One man face stink bug. What do you call plural? Is it like men face stink bug, or is it like man face stink bugs, or is it men face stink bugs? I don't know, but golly, I've never seen so many stink bugs in one spot. I guess that's what gardens are good for in Animal Crossing. We'll even grab the one regular stink bug too while we're at it. But I didn't have a Linkin Park CD growing up, but my sister had the first two, and dare I say, the first two, Meteora and Hybrid Theory, are the closest things I could ever describe as perfect CDs. Like, or albums, or soundtrack, whatever you want to call them. I would say that they are the closest thing to perfection in terms of an album. To this day, I will say, my favorite album of all time probably is Meteora. And, like, its start, I don't think I've ever very few albums I come across that have a great start. Like there's one I'll mention. I'll go into a little bit of depth later on this week. But it's the Carnal album by Nothing More. But when Meteor starts with the foreword, that is like the intro that leads quickly into Don't Stay, I'm already hooked. I love Forward into Don't Stay, but then you follow that up with Somewhere I Belong, which probably might just be my favorite Linkin Park song. At least to sing personally. And if you haven't heard me sing yet, well, you're very, very fortunate. But maybe I tell you what. What do I say? Like 250 subs, and we'll get singing. I can't say 200. We're like right there, and I don't think I'm ready for that. It's still a little, a little bit bashful. Like, oh no, I don't want to sing. But those three, like the two main songs. But then you go into "Lying My Way from You," which is like on most people's top 5 Linkin Park song list, especially where they're like they're talking about like the older stuff. So fantastic album all the way through, and that's comparing it. Like, I will tell you how good Hybrid Theory is too. And that one literally starts off with Paper Cut, which is phenomenal song, like on its own. Like you combine like Lying from You and Paper Cut, and then you think of the Collision Course mashup that they had with Jay-Z, and it's like, yeah, these are great songs. Numb, obviously, really good too. Me personally, never was a big Numb fan, but it is a good song. It is definitely a good song. I'm not going to deny it, but I am going to have my own opinion and say that it's good, but But then again, if you want to know how bad of an opinion I have when it comes to Linkin Park songs, I also am a big fan of the Reanimation album that they had, the one where they basically like remixed a whole bunch of their songs, and my favorite one on the entire one is probably the "With You" version, featuring I think it's like Aceyalone, like Aceyyalone. It's like Atlas Shine, except more confusing. But it's the "With You," the Chairman Han reanimation version, and like you're like, oh man, this song's really good. When you hear like basic "With You," it's just missing something. I can't quite put my finger on it, and then you hear this version where they just like throw in like one extra rap in there, and it's not Mike Shinoda doing the rapping, it's somebody else doing it. Obviously probably the Osceola, whatever you want to call them, but it just clicks. It's like I feel like everything clicks in this into place after that happens, and it's just a fantastic rendition. I mean, there's like so many great things. Like you kind of like, to the people who might trash reanimation, I would have to ask them, well, what's a better version? Points of Authority, the original version, or the reanimation version? And I feel like that's the catcher. I think the definitive version of Points of Authority is the reanimation one. There's other songs that you can have like a disagreement on, but I think most people can agree that reanimation did really good with Points of Authority, and that's just like, you know, one of many different things that we'd have to talk about. But like I want. Dang, he just jumped right in my flowers. When we talk about Linkin Park, I feel like there's like, at this point in time, 3 versions of Linkin Park. There's the one that I fell in love with, which is the what do the new bloods be talking about these days? They call them OG. The original ones. We're talking about Reanimation plus Meteora and Hybrid Theory. I would consider that like the OG stuff. There's like one more that kind of came afterwards that had I can't remember the name. It was like something digging deeper, just to throw it in. I was not a big fan of that one. Just like I just felt like it obviously, like it's their song, so it can be their song, right? They can do however they want, but I feel like it's Linkin Park trying to do a parody of Linkin Park, and I felt like he tried too hard. I just was not a big fan of it. But the overall, it's just, I felt like that entered like their second stage. So like after the first stage, we're talking about way back in the day. Then they had like a phase where I feel like they became more mainstream, if you would. It's kind of like how like Fall Out Boy used to listen to, like used to be like really sad, mopey, almost borderline annoying, and then next thing you know, they're doing the soundtrack for like Big Hero 6, and you're like, is this the same band? That's kind of how it felt. Like when Linkin Park did the New Divide, I think was the one that they did for the Transformers movie, which, you know, the less said, the better. But I feel like that was like their second stage, where they became less rock and more of like industrial, like I don't want to say pop. I feel like pop might be an insult, but it's kind of like more of like more safe, what people would like to hear. But there are some good ones, like Leave Out All the Rest came out around that time, and I tell you what, Leave Out All the Rest is a song that, like, play it at my funeral. That one and the other song that was like really, really deep, One More Light, also is like a really, really good one as well. And like either one of these songs, they're just so, the depth that they bring, I'd say they're the highlights for me. There's some other ones like Castle of Glass. I'm a big fan of that one as well. There's another song that they also have. I can't remember what it was called. But like they got a lot. Like Lost in the Echo might have been it, but that's 2 different phases of Linkin Park. And then the last one is the most current one, which, I mean, it's kind of strange when I think about it now, like talking out loud. Linkin Park is a very divisive band because they've done things that they have a habit of doing things that will rub people a different kind of way. And it's not like bad per se, it's just different is guess what I'm trying to get at. And like the newest version, they have the new female vocals. I've heard all sorts of stories about like how we got to this point where they're like supposedly like somebody like the band made some sort of an agreement with Chester Bennington's mom that like, oh yeah, they're not going to continue unless they get like her approval or something like that. Like I don't know. I don't quote me on it. I don't know for certain what their agreement was, if there ever was one. I was not the fly on the wall in that situation. I'm just a fan who just like a lot of people was just like, oh wow, they got a new female vocalist, which you know I think the worst thing that people can do is they try to compare her so strictly to Chester, and it's like, bro, you gotta chill. There's never gonna be another Chester. And, I mentioned last week, I try not to be too down all the time. I'm trying to be, uplifting. That's why we talk about what we like around here. But last week I talked about Doom, and if there's one other artist that really like kind of hurt, it was when Chester Bennington, um, well, when he went the way that he did, and what really, I don't hate him, and I don't dislike him. I love him very dearly as a fan, but if there's one thing I did hate, I hate the fact that One More Light exists, and he sings it with this kind of like solemn hope to it, and then we live in a world where we have one less light, and I'm just, oh man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Like I get it. Like he was close with like Chris Cornell, and like that's a whole nother sad part of it. And it's just, sometimes you really know that you cared about somebody when you uh, um I don't know. It's like it's this weird kind of feeling like when somebody you really like or appreciate like does something so devastating, and you don't hate them. You're not mad at them. You're just kind of mad at what they did, and like, and I think what makes it even worse is like less like you're so far from being mad at them. You're really more mad at yourself, even if you never knew him. I obviously never knew him. I never met him in person. I never actually got to shake his hand and tell him how great he was. But maybe if I'd have just been a better fan, I could have been different. Like, but that's neither here nor there. It's just every time I hear that song, it's just I would say probably with the context of what happened to Chester, I'd say One More Light is on my top 10 like saddest songs of all time, right up there with Johnny Cash's cover of Hurt. Like those two songs, Johnny Cash's Hurt and the context of Chester singing One More Light, will just have me just so terribly sad, like in an instance, like, but like not sad, like I guess like depressed is more like it, like it's like it's not like I can't function, but it's just like you just kind of sit down and you just ask yourself like why. But that is what's the other word that kids use these days a whole bunch? Lore. That's the lore of Linkin Park, and it's a small part of the whole story as to why I love Linkin Park so much as a band, as an act, as just a part of my life. Like they're just so good and so talented, and I pray for them still, every day. Like Mike Shinoda, one of my favorite rappers. Obviously, I think I mentioned that last week. I love what he brought to the whole thing, really defining the whole rapcore aesthetic, and it was just like really really good. Like overall, just being able to experience that, and you still get to experience that, um, regardless of whether or not you approve of her as a vocalist or maybe you disagree. The cool thing about music is we can disagree as to what we think somebody should or shouldn't do, but we can all agree that, I mean, as a whole, we like it, and we can sit down and like actually, listen to these things. So, you guys, this is the start of Rock Week in our music month for the Atlas Shine channel. We've really come quite a long way so far. I was actually looking at the statistics over the past couple years, and I checked it out. I said, how many subscribers did we get in the past year? And it said 85. We went from 114 to 199, and we're right at the cusp of 200, and I'm super stoked about it. And then I was curious to compare it to the year prior, because I thought, like, growth was a little bit differently. No. From the day that this is recorded, on this exact date, from 2024 to 2025, we only gained 2 subscribers. We went from 112 to 114. So, big growth. And it doesn't happen without you guys, honestly. I love each and every one of you guys. I love having you guys around. If you like this whole experiment that we get to go through, if this helps you with a little bit of therapy, the same way it does me, just being able to hear, for the most part, things that are more positive and upbeat, then, feel free to subscribe so you can check out the next one, get notified for it. Feel free to leave a comment. Let me know if you like Linkin Park, if you dislike Linkin Park. If you do like Linkin Park, let me know what your favorite song, the song you like the most is. And Wednesday, we're going to be talking about just the more modern-ish, with an asterisk, modern. It might be a little bit stretched, but modern rock groups in general. I'm going to just kind of try to find a short list for you guys, let you know like which ones are my favorite. And my absolute favorite, I will tell you guys about that all on Friday. But you made it through the weekend, and we have another wonderful week up ahead. You guys have all the blessings in the world. You're going to do something phenomenal this week, and I can't wait to hear about it. But until next time, I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care.